Welcome back to the Psalm 40 Project. We continue our conversation with Reverend Kristy Manion.
Sure.
So you've decided to do MDiv full time. You got CPE shaping you.
Yep.
Did you finish the MDiv program at the end of that year?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I still had more to go. I finished the MDiv program after our son Isaac was born. He was 6 weeks old and I walked across
Awesome.
the stage for graduation. And that is a dear and precious part of our life when I look back on those pictures of that day. And I think here was my spouse who didn't really know he was signing up for this kind of life.
Yeah.
And there he is at graduation with a 2.5-year-old and a 6-week-old, and just figuring this out with me.
Yeah.
And willing to go on this journey that he didn't know he would be on either. So yeah, so I'm really thankful that I finished. Again, there were people along the way. There was a time after Micah was born that I was feeling very swamped, and I went in and met with David Reilersdam at the seminary and said, I think I just need to cash in all these credits and get an MA in something, whatever it would work out to be. And he said, well, if you want to do that, we can do that. But if you want to slow down, if you need some time, if you need to just be a mom to this little guy, and then, so they were very good about saying, we don't want you to give up. Like, we don't want roadblocks in your life to be the reason.
Yeah.
If that's your choice, we'll honor it. But if you want to get this done, you're so close.
Yeah.
Would you just hang in there for another semester, one class at a time?
Just chip away at it.
Chipping away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, I would not have been prepared or half as ready, not that you're ever ready, to be a pastor at 26, me personally. Had I gone straight out of seminary or straight out of college, barreled through seminary and landed in a church, I feel like the time to grow up into myself, which is always evolving, it's not done yet, is richer and better for the slow journey through seminary and through a workplace and through young family life. Those things have made me a richer person. Yeah. In this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see how that would work out for you.
Yeah.
So how did you get into, I guess, a pastor role then?
Yeah.
So
I kept stumbling upward, Jonah.
Yeah. Tell me how these stumbles kind of how they went, how you stumbled down this path.
Yep. So I finished the MDiv in 2012, and I was continuing to work. I was back at Calvin College working.
Okay.
So I took a year off, and then there was another position that opened up that they called me for and said, this is part-time, it's a leadership role. We would like you to direct and oversee the Prelude program, which was a first-year seminar class at Calvin when Micah was just tiny. So I did that and was continuing to do that while Isaac was little. Isaac was 1, and I decided, I think we're at a place where I would just like to spend time with my kids. Mm-hmm. This is enough. There's a lot going on. So how about if I just try to get this navigating home life thing?
Yeah,
because it's a lot.
You haven't quite been a mom.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, but at the same time, you're a student and working. And wearing way too many hats.
Yeah, lots of hats. Lots of hats. So it was great. It was a time in the life of our family that Josh felt secure in his work and said, yep, I think it's all right if you would like to step back from that and be full-time at home. So I did that for a little while, and at that time we were starting to participate with a church, not quite yet at a church plant maybe, but we were at Madison Square Church.
Okay.
And beginning to head into a church plant that group was considering and making steps to go forward into Madison North to meet on the northeast side of Grand Rapids. And there was a woman in our community of discernment that was leaning toward this church plant community who was a workplace chaplain.
Okay.
And she was looking for people to do very part-time visits to people at their place of work.
Yeah.
And so she said, I'm looking for somebody to do about 4 hours a week. And I thought, 4 hours a week, I could do that. You know, that would feed my soul. It would be fulfilling for me to go and meet these people at work and try to just be around for whatever they're.
Those are pretty famous 4 words.
Just be around. Just be available. So that worked out, and that was a way that God opened a door for me to continue working in ministry on a very part-time basis while I was raising little people. Yeah. And I enjoyed that a lot. And I was participating in the life of Madison North as a volunteer in different ways. And so I never felt like, oh, there's nothing very interesting for me to do here, or I'm bored, or there have always been interesting things and ways that I feel like God has said, will you step into this? I'll meet you there. So I was doing that for a couple of years. I think I served at Gordon Food Service maybe for 3 years. My memory is not perfect on that, but got to belong to a staff there on a limited basis, got out of the house a little bit, which for me was a gift, and got to continue in this path toward ministry. Now, my ordination got very complicated because I wasn't looking for a call.
Yeah.
So while I was in seminary, I'm sure that it was explained to me that you have these processes that you have to go through, and you have to be affirmed by synod as a candidate before you may accept a call. Whoa. So, but I was like, I'm having a baby, I'm having another baby, I'm working, I'm really part-time, I'm not looking for a call. I think it went right over my head that there was this part of the process called candidacy. So the chaplaincy work was an ordainable work. I could be called to that. So then we started the classis process of having an interview and doing all these things. And I got through my classis interview and sustained that. When I get a call from our clerk of classis the next week saying, did you know that you have to be a candidate? And that if you want to be ordained as a chaplain, you have to also do another unit of CPE.
Okay.
So there were these things along the way that we had to sort of continue to press into and iron out. So I did another unit of CPE while I was serving at Gordon. Awesome. Awesome experience at a horse ranch in Colorado. With a distance learning CPE unit that met online every week.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was very cool. And enjoyed the chaplaincy very much, was happy there. And then about the time Amelia was born, 2015, she was born in August. I think about 3 weeks later, a letter from LaGrave showed up in my mailbox at home. And it said, we're seeking a minister of discipleship, among other things, and your name was suggested as someone that we would reach out to. And so
cool.
So I said to Josh, does the Lord not know that I have a 3-week-old baby? Are we really talking about doing this right now?
Come on, a little bit better timing there, God, please.
But I said, Josh, I think I have to walk through this door and I have to see. And I said, if it's full-time, I won't apply. But if I check into it and it's part-time, I will walk through the door and I will see. So we were praying about that, and here I am with little peanut Amelia, and just again surprised. Here's God being surprising again. So as a part of that process, there were multiple interviews with a search committee, and I called and talked to Reverend Yonker and said, okay, I know that this staff is sort of new, and tell me about what you're looking for, and why did you send this to me? And so just kind of through that process, just continued to feel like God was leading us forward, and the church sensed that as well. And so I think I heard first in maybe September from the church, and then by January I think we were doing a congregational interview, and I started here in February.
Wow.
So for a church it moved really quick.
Yeah,
it was a very well-run process, and I felt really thankful for that.